Okay, so this was the last Raw of the year 2013. So we begin with CM Punk Seth Rollins, which should have been an amazing match. Instead, it was a decent match. You could tell that they just weren't gelling. If you caught SmackDown last week, you saw John Cena and Seth Rollins, and it was a fantastic match. Except for John Cena kicking out of everything Seth Rollins could do. This was a decent match. Of course, before it, he was like, I want to take on the best member of the Shield. There's no more of a blatant way than to say that we're trying to show you the schism that exists within this team than to have CM Punk challenge the best member, then have them all kind of take turns saying who's the best. Decent match. It should have been a lot better. Big E Langston defended his title against Fandango. The move that Fandango did, that was like the kick to the knee, which then had Big E fall down and hit like the top of his head onto Fandango's knee. Beautiful spot. Looked incredibly vicious. Almost too nuanced to really be done well on teams that show it in the replay. Curtis Axel took on Dolph Ziggler in a match of two people whose trajectory for career is on a downward slope. Decent match. They've had a couple matches before, so they've got some decent chemistry. Ziggler hit the zigzag, got the victory. Langston defeated Fandango to retain his title. And then a 10 Diva tag match. And Oksana won with elbow to the back of the head finisher. The donkey punch. I don't know what her finisher is called. Well, I know she's got probably some of the worst music. It was a okay match. They keep on doing these multiple Divas matches thinking that, if we get all of them together, the guys can either look at one of them or watch what's going on in the ring. And Kaitlyn's appeal, again, kind of, maybe, I have no idea. They announced the main event for Royal Rumble. Big shock. John Cena, Randy Orton for the title. Okay. Triple H welcomed back an individual. Brock Lesnar, who said he will take on whoever's next. Fine, decent. Then they mentioned there's no one man enough to come attack him. Out came Mark Henry. This was pretty decent. These two guys, I don't really recall them having a feud during Lesnar's other times at the E. Lesnar just demolished him. Which means Lesnar, Mark Henry, Lesnar Championship, Lesnar, Big E Langston. Those were all decent sort of feuds. Damien Sandow was part of the choose your opponent adventure. And they chose out of The Miz, Khali, and Kofi, the great Khali. Sandow said if he couldn't win, he was going to quit, so he gets a roll-up victory. Okay. Bad News Barrett has a giant retractable podium. The best thing about that was his giant podium. Brodus Clay took on R-Truth. Funkadactyls got involved, distracted Brodus Clay. R-Truth gets the victory. So the person who should be this fantastic, dominant heel has lost to all three people that he's been feuding with distraction from the Funkadactyls. Now, of course, the biggest story of the night was Daniel Bryan taking on first Harper. Beats Harper. Nice match, good back and forth. But he defeats Harper. Then takes on Rowan. He defeats Rowan. Which then leads to him taking on Bray Wyatt, which doesn't happen, because instead they just gang beat Daniel Bryan. In a very, 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 very long segment. You really just feel like they should have thrown in another match instead of having the segment take on as long as it did. So you had the post-match beatdown. Bray Wyatt cuts another fantastic promo. Then Daniel Bryan goes, "You're right. You're right. You've been right all this time." So then Daniel Bryan joins the Wyatts. And that is the end. That is the last thing you see in 2013. Is Daniel Bryan joining the Wyatt family to help take down the Machine. That means either things are going to skyrocket for the Wyatt family, because they've got the 2013 Superstar of the Year, a guy who had a phenomenal year. So interesting. It felt like it just took just a little bit too long. This said they should have thrown in another, like quick gimme match, or quick throwaway match. Like Sin Cara versus Del Rio or something. It felt like there was a moment where they could have really thrown in just one other little match, and it would have made all the difference in the world. See, that last segment was, a great segment, just seemed to go on about 5-10 minutes too long. Goodbye, 2013.